Tonight on Grady Newsource, we examine steps Barrow County will take to protect people against ransomware attacks. We look at the problems that the Athens Humane Society faces with animal health. And we collect local opinions on the second round of flavor bans for e-cigarettes.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College at the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
Good evening and welcome to Grady Newsource. I'm Carly Reese.
I'm Tara Brawley with sports.
And I'm Nixon Norman with weather.
These days, it takes more than police patrolling communities to prevent crime, and computer servers might not be the first things that come to mind, but keeping your data safe has become a top priority for law enforcement. Grady News Source reporter Francisco Guzman shows you how law enforcement is using this tool as the new anti-hacking device to protect your information.
I don't want to be taken hostage because these records are private information. Some of it's open records and some of it's not.
Earlier this year, Jackson County was hacked and forced to pay a $400,000 ransom, a situation Sheriff Smith said he wants to avoid.
With these new servers, we can kind of strengthen our ability to hold the information and make sure that it's secure so the public doesn't get out in the public in the wrong hands.
Computer servers hold information including social security numbers, police reports, homicide investigations, and background information on residents. Jackson County Manager Kevin Poe said it wasn't guaranteed that the hackers would give them the software, but they took the gamble.
They demanded a ransom, and we started the negotiations with them in that regard and had to weigh whether we wanted to pay it or not and what it was going to take to get our operations back going and how long and cost. And after weighing all that, we decided to pay the ransom.
How will the money be paid?
Best case scenario, if our revenues exceed our expenditures at the end of the year, we might have enough money to cover it without having to dip into contingency or reserves.
It's not just fighting crime with law enforcement. We have to make sure not only is our information available, but it's also secure.
Francisco Guzman, Grady Newsource.
Jackson County wasn't the only county that was hit. To find out how hackers get hold of information and what local leaders are doing about it, head over to Grady Newsource. The Jackson County Board of Education announced its intention to increase the property taxes it will levy for 2019. Citizens interested in expressing their views on the matter should attend the Board of Education meeting tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. The meeting will be held at the Jackson County Board of Education Central Office. With the second Georgia home game right around the corner, Grady Newsource reporter Tasia Harper tells you what you need to know if you plan on participating in downtown activities. Let's go to Tasia live in downtown Athens.
If you plan on partying this weekend in the downtown Athens area, you can expect to be amongst hundreds and hundreds of fans, visitors, and students all crowding these streets. But there'll also be dozens of police officers right there with you. They aren't looking to arrest anyone though. According to Jeff Gillen, the public information officer for the Athens-Clarke County Police Department, they're there for your safety.
We always have a presence in the downtown area, especially when there is a larger crowd. And this weekend's home game will be the same.
Right now, the streets of Athens are slow and steady. But this weekend, you can expect these streets to offer a totally different type of scenery.
Yeah, it's pretty wild when you go downtown and just see a bunch of people.
And if those bunches of people decide to get a little rowdy, the Athens-Clarke County Police Department has just the procedures in place to keep the night running smoothly.
But we always have enough officers to make sure that there is a safe environment downtown, that people can feel comfortable being there and enjoy themselves.
I feel as though I definitely do see a lot of police officers downtown during these times.
And not only is the police presence amped up, the roles that each officer plays in the downtown scene adds that extra layer of security.
So most officers in the downtown area on normal days use bicycles. During a home game, we supplement those officers with vehicles. The van, which you mentioned, is typically used for the transportation of people who have broken an ordinance or broken the law and could possibly be transported to jail.
One thing the downtown goers in the Athens-Clarke County Police Department have in common is the goal of everyone to ultimately have a good time.
The atmosphere is honestly very funny because you can just see that people are typically drunk or they're just having a really good time downtown.
And for the police officers, Gillen says the good time part is actually their goal.
That our officers in the downtown area are not interested in arresting people. They want people to have a good time, they want everyone to be responsible, and they want people to enjoy the downtown scene.
Don't expect for these procedures to only be enforced during home games. Whenever there's a large event being held in Athens, you can expect for there to be a large police presence. Reporting live from downtown Athens, Tasia Harper, Grady Newsource.
Thanks, Tasia. The CDC has come out in support of the FDA's proposed ban on flavored e-cigarette cartridges. This ban seeks to outlaw some of the flavors not included in November's flavor ban. CDC Director Robert Redfield tweeted the support today and stated that all tobacco use is unsafe for youth.
But personally, I think that they should not ban flavored e-cigarettes because I think that it's just going to incentivize people to find other routes and do other forms, like smoke cigarettes or other forms of drugs.
The administration plans to ban all e-cigarette flavors except tobacco. Madison McCall and Parker Marlowe of the UGA chapter of Turning Point spoke about their views on the ban.
Much more important to enforce these values in the home than have the government tell you what you cannot do. That's a parental matter.
The proposed ban comes after 6 vaping-related deaths in California, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Minnesota, and Oregon, as confirmed by the CDC. Coming up, we'll learn about a new organization to help students from rural areas build a community at UGA, and we'll see how people are able to get mammograms in Madison County for the first time.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Is your family in need of more quality time together?
Hello, I'm Dr. Spruce. Nature is best enjoyed together. So bring the whole family to discover all the bonding and stress-reducing benefits parks and forests have to offer. Visit discovertheforest.org and trade in phone time for family time.
Birds, squirrels, chipmunks, grass, worms, bugs, trees, rocks, and other objects in nature cannot talk. If you'd like to have a conversation while visiting nature, you will need to bring humans along. We strongly recommend starting with your family.
Na 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 na, I love you so. I love you, I love you. La 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 la, la 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 la.
We're here.
Yay!
It's a short drive from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
With 5,718 freshman students enrolled just last year, the University of Georgia boasts a large campus. For students from rural areas, the campus can be overwhelming. A new student-led organization called RISE aims to help those students succeed on campus. Digital reporter Katie Kim has more on the UGA's rural community.
If you look at this map of Georgia behind me, you can see these white highlighted areas. And those are where a large number of students in Georgia come from. These are more heavily populated areas such as Forsyth, Gwinnett, and Fulton counties. However, there's actually another community of students that RISE aims to put a focus on, such as these areas down here that are more rural counties, and right here. Decatur actually has 103 students from UGA. RISE plans to help these students from these rural areas connect with each other and also gain access to resources across campus, such as scholarships and other student organizations.
Thanks, Katie. To find out more about UGA's rural population and RISE, go online to gradynewsource.uga.edu. Instead of driving 30 minutes to the nearest clinic for a mammogram, people who live in Danielsville had the chance to get one closer to home. Grady Newsource reporter Alexandra Rios shows you how a mobile mammogram truck can help save lives.
Teresa Patton is one of the many people in Madison County who knows of someone affected by breast cancer.
It's devastating to watch them go through the treatments, the scare, and just having to live out that ordeal.
After several Madison County probate employees were diagnosed and treated with breast cancer, Human Resource and Wellness Director Tracy Dake organized the Piedmont Athens Regional Mobile Mammogram for people who live in Madison County.
And would help them to come and get checked, because I've had several employees that was grateful that this was happening because they didn't want to drive to Athens to get it done, or they've never had one done.
The American Cancer Society advises all women to be familiar with how their breast normally looks and feels.
You know, tell them to keep on what they're doing, to continue with the testings, continue with the exams, self-exams, doctor's exams, and just, you know, pay close attention to yourself.
Patton hopes Madison County community will take the exam serious. She says breast cancer can not only be diagnosed in women, but can be developed in men too. Alexandra Rios, Grady Newsource.
I'm Tara Brawley. Mammograms save lives, but still thousands of women die of breast cancer each year. One of them, the wife of Arkansas State's head football coach. Dog fans will wear pink instead of red at the game this weekend to show support.
Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Is the seat supposed to be forward-facing or rear-facing? Did they move to a booster seat too soon? It may be too late to check when you're on the road. Fortunately, you're on the couch. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Don't think you know. Know you know.
I'm a single mother, and I was the main one working, so I never thought that I could go back to school, you know? My sister, my mother, everybody wanted to help me with my kids. I could not have gotten my diploma without my family.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
It's a beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90-mile-per-hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors. Come on, that's it. Let's go.
And now, sports.
UGA has a football game against Arkansas State this weekend, but there are some things more important than football. Those aren't my words, though. Here's what a UGA football player has to say.
You know, it's sports, you know, it's a big day made by like rivalries and stuff like that, and the other team being the enemy, but you know, it's great when you come together for a common cause, like something bigger than football.
The Bulldogs Battling Breast Cancer Twitter account posted a call to action, encouraging students to wear pink to the upcoming UGA football game against Arkansas State, and here's why. The stadium is empty now, but on Saturday, UGA's campus will look like this again, but this time, it'll have a touch more pink. And here's why. The Wear Pink for Wendy initiative is in honor of Coach Blake Anderson's wife, who passed away on August 19th after a 2-year battle with breast cancer. The tweet has gained a lot of attention, being retweeted by the official Georgia football Twitter account. and quoted by Arkansas State head football coach Blake Anderson himself.
Yeah, I can't even begin to fathom or understand what he's gone through. When I first heard the news, I was just, crushed for him and his family and his kids, and you can never, I can never imagine what he's having to go through.
That's why some students are supporting the push for pink at the football game.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, it's really nice that they're doing it for the coach, and I think it shows our support for him, and I think it's I think it's something sweet that the school can do for them, as to welcome them here.
For Hannah Gestring, the story hits close to home.
And I'm actually from Arkansas, so I've seen a lot from people that go to Arkansas State about it as well. So I think it's a great way to be supportive of other people and other schools, even though we're playing against them and competing. I think it's still great to show support for people going through a hard time.
UGA fans have never been short of passion, and this Saturday, some plan to put a football rivalry aside a bit to show that even our opponents are worthy of respect.
I've met Blake a couple times and just got a lot of respect for him as a person and a coach, and can't imagine what he's had to go through as far as his family, all his family, his kids and everything.
If you can't make it to Sanford Stadium, you can watch the game at noon on Saturday on ESPN2. Tomorrow, the University of Georgia soccer team will face off against Georgia Southern at the Turner Soccer Complex in Athens. UGA's standing is currently 2-3-1, and Georgia Southern's is 3-3. Here's what their coach has to say about their performance.
The thing I really like about this team is that we're not really comprised of a couple of superstars. I think we're a team that really focuses on the collective, and we've got a deeper team than we've had in the past. So we get to utilize more players in different positions. So I'm hoping that as the season goes on, our depth continues to help us in games when fatigue starts to set in. We got new legs and some new mentality that comes onto the field ready to change the game.
You can watch the game on the SEC Network at 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
Hi, I'm Nixon Norman with your Grady Newsource weather. And coming up, I'm going to give you a game day forecast for this game coming up this Saturday.
Hello.
Hi, I'm from Blue Hood Stone Barns. We brought a meal for you and I'm here to serve it to you.
Okay, great. Come in.
Zucchini carbonara, made from zucchini that was harvested earlier this morning.
Again?
Hey, Dan Barber.
You have room for a little bit more?
Come on in.
Brochettes, the sausage. So when we made that zucchini carbonara, they're the end pieces of the zucchini and then the cores that we cut away, not to mention zucchini flour. Usually those get thrown out. We use them to create an entire second dish. Does that,
Again?
I'm here to bring you your third course. It's the vines from your zucchini.
We'll have a little zucchini stem pasta, a different experience of zucchini. When we start to think differently about our food, we can get a lot more out of it.
This is delicious.
What do you think we can make out of this? 40% of food in America is never eaten. Cook it, store it, share it. Visit SaveTheFood.com.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation.
America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Laughing too hard at one of your colleagues' jokes at the office party? He's not even funny. Warning sign, those drinks are probably going to your head. Probably okay isn't okay when it comes to drinking and driving.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
High-speed coverage is crucial to using our phones without frustration in this day and age, but accuracy of weather forecasting could be at risk in the emergence of 5G coverage. In the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian, meteorologists are concerned about the impact 5G coverage may have on weather forecast accuracy. But there may be an answer tonight.
Our forecasts are as accurate as ever. Interestingly enough, with the emergence of 5G in the cell phone and telecommunications industry, it presents an interesting problem in that the same sort of frequencies that will be used for 5G are also the same frequencies that we use to measure things like water vapor in the atmosphere. But with the 5G signal very close to 22 gigahertz, it will possibly mask out or confuse the signals that we use to go into our weather models.
So, what is more important to everyday people?
Accuracy of information is a lot more important to me than speed, because if you have inaccurate information, you can make decisions that are not the best choice. And we decide a lot of things based on what the weather accuracy is going to be. And so if it's not accurate, then we find ourselves in situations we didn't plan to be in.
On the other hand,
I care more about 5G speed because personally being in Georgia, the Georgia weather is inaccurate anyways, so I feel like accuracy is not something that's super important.
Ultimately, weather affects people's lives and their property, but
there are solutions, and in fact, even as we're talking, I believe finally the FCC, NASA, and NOAA are starting to have conversations. That's all we want. We don't want 5G to go away. We need 5G. We just need a conversation, and I believe they're finally talking about possibly ramping down the power and the signal near those frequencies, or perhaps even looking at other frequencies. There is a solution to this that can make everyone happy.
The measuring of water vapor may seem unimportant to most, but it actually helps predict very important things like storms and hurricanes.
And now, the weather.
Hello guys, I'm Nixon Norman with your Grady Newsource weather. And today we're going to be talking about tonight and tomorrow's temperatures and weather. We're going to give you a 5-day forecast of this week and Monday of next week. And I'm also going to give you some game day predictions, not so much about football, but about the weather that'll be happening this Saturday. As for tonight, at 6 p.m., it is going to be around 93 degrees. At 9 p.m., that's going to lower to 82 degrees. And at midnight, we will finally end off at 76 degrees. As for tomorrow, in the beginning of the day, we're going to have at 9 a.m., 77 as our temperature. At noon, it'll be 91. And at 3, we will have a higher temperature of 95. As for that 5-day forecast that I was talking about, today is going to be our hottest day, and it's going to lower down to 70 later. Tomorrow's also going to be pretty hot at 95 degrees, and it'll lower down to 71. As for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, it will dramatically drop down, and that's because we have a higher percentage of precipitation possibility. And as I had mentioned, I'm going to give you that prediction on Saturday, and we'll get to that after we look at high temperatures that'll be happening around Georgia tomorrow. And we will have a low of 88 degrees in Blairsville. Our highest temperatures will be in Chattanooga and Rome. And closer to home in Atlanta and Athens, we're going to have a temperature of 95 degrees. So it's still going to be really hot out there. As I had suggested Tuesday, stay hydrated. Drink as much water as you can because you're going to need it. We're going to get sweaty out there, okay? And as for Saturday, kickoff is going to happen around 12 p.m. and we can expect a temperature of around 82 degrees. And as I had mentioned, there's going to be a chance of precipitation this day. It'll be at around 20%. And in the stadium, you're not allowed to bring umbrellas, so be sure to bring your rain jacket. Wear some kind of water-resistant shoes, and maybe even bring a Ziploc baggie for your phone. You don't want that thing to get wet. We're going to have east winds from about 5 to 10 miles. And as I said, I can't predict what's going to happen with the dogs, but I sure hope they win. But I can tell you, like I said, you're going to want to stay dry, especially if you're out there watching them all day. And that's what I got for you today. My name's Nixon Norman, and this was your Grady Newsource weather. Thank you.
Coming up, Grady Newsource reporter Tyler Metcalf will tell us about voting that will take place to determine who will occupy an old school building on West Broad Street.
What to expect when you're expecting.
Like here?
A teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to teen-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys. Preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them. Hi, honey.
Ready for the... Mom, you don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
In less than 1 hour, the Athens-Clarke County Board of Education takes a vote on whether to approve the school district's plan to change West Broad Community Garden into a multi-use property for the school district.
As we come to the vote tonight, the Athens-Clarke County School Board has a plan to decide on a plan proposed by the district to change the former West Broad Elementary School into an early learning center for young students, a health center for students, and also a parent information center. As you can look here, there are 3 buildings here. This was a former segregated elementary school that's now a garden. So, however, according to the meeting policy, in order for the plan to pass, a majority of the members of the board must vote yes, and with 1 board member abstaining due to conflicts of interest, they will need 5 votes in order to pass. With 7 voting, you would think it would be a simple majority of 4, but it's actually 5. So unless you get 5 above, only 2 can vote no. It will be a pass, and right here is fail. So unless you get above that, it is an F. And that's it.
The vote on the West Broad property happens tonight at 6 at the H.T. Edwards Senior Building on off of Atlanta Highway. It is open to the public if you would like to attend. Thanks for tuning into Grady Newsource tonight, but remember, you can always stay up to date by going to our website or social media to discover more stories at Grady Newsource or GradyNewsource.com. I'm Carly Reese. I'm Tara Brawley.
And I'm Nixon Norman. And we'll see you next week.
Grady Newsource is a student production of the Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Georgia, which is solely responsible for its contents. Views expressed do not represent those of the administration nor the Board of Regents at the University System of Georgia.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Okay, so welcome to our Thursday night Grady Newsource Bow Show. For obvious reasons, I'm not going to be talking that much tonight. But firstly, I just want to say that tonight was an absolutely fantastic show, and I think you all did a great job. Also, just one little thing is that when you export your packages or SOTs or anything, just make sure that when you export it in Premiere, that you're only exporting the part of the workspace that has clips in it. Because today we had a package that was exported and it was 4 minutes long, and about 1 minute, 58 seconds, and 24 frames was the actual content part about this. I was able to adjust and run it out of playback, but just keep an eye on that, and when you export it, you don't have to watch it, just scrub through it and make sure that everything's in the right spot when you export it. I understand that you guys are pressed for time. Just taking 10 seconds to just drag the playhead through the clip to watch it would really help us, and that is basically it. It was a great show today. You all did fantastic, and I think as complicated as it was, especially with the OTS, which first one we did this semester, I think our director Kate did a fantastic job. So now Kate's just gonna say her piece, and then we will let Cantrell speak. Here you go.
Thanks, y'all. Is this working, I guess? Okay, great job. Really great show. I really liked it. Couple of missed punches on my part, but, oops, sorry, my bad. Other than that, it was really good. Today was so awesome because all of, the A block, there wasn't a package for E block, but all the packages for A block were in such good time, and it was, awesome. So keep it up because that was really great and a really great thing to see today. What was the other thing?
That's all I had to say.
I think, that was it. So really good job. Good job, getting down in the studio time so we had time to, set everything up. Seriously, those two are, the most important. So
more time would be nice. Just a little bit.
Thanks so much. Good job.
Much, Kate. I appreciate it. Thank you, Sarah. All right. We're going to talk about memorable moments and then what you're going to strive for next week. But before we do that, I would like to hear from our producer, Caroline. Thoughts, feedback?
Okay, yeah. So 2 things I wanted to talk about. First, 2 things that I really loved. Tasia, I think you did fantastic live. It's very, very good. You didn't even have you just spoke perfectly. So I really like that. Also, Tara, your sports story was just great. You got such good sources, and it just looked so good as a package altogether. Loved that, loved that. And then the other thing, just that I want to talk about a little bit to improve on in the future is if you go out to a story and you aren't able to get sources if things don't work out, just making as many calls as you can and doing that, because when me and Aaron and Francisco are doing all that we're doing, it's really hard for us to make those calls for you and figure all that stuff out. So if you could if something doesn't work out, think of all the possible people you could talk to, try to get something to bring back to us, because we ended up having to cut a lot today, and then I messed up time in there, and so it just creates a mess later. But yeah, that's all I've had. I think overall we did really good today. You guys want to?
Caroline?
Yes.
What one thing, you've done you've done a magnificent job producing this week. You've never done it before. You have a care and command presence, and it's impressive. What did you learn this week that you could pass on to who's producing next week? Yeah. Oh, okay. Francisco. All right.
Okay.
What would you pass on to Francisco?
Well, one thing that I learned that has really helped me out, and I learned from when Tara did it, and I was watching when they did it, is when we did the whole never type things more times than you need to, immediately putting things into the rundown after pitches and when they're getting their gear, not typing that on the separate thing, but going ahead, putting it where you need to, because it's easy to shift things. It's easy to move things wherever you want it, but immediately throwing it in the rundown, because that's what you want to get done as soon as possible. But I guess that's the biggest piece of advice I have. There's probably a lot of other things, but you guys can just talk to me at a different time about that if you want. Okay, you guys wanna?
So I just want to give a round of applause to Tasia for that live shot.
Oh yeah, so good.
That's all I had to say.
Well, talk to us a little bit about digital. How did you did something a little bit different today. You had to command and control some digi folks. What did you think went well, and what do you think we need to do more of or less of?
I think everyone did a digital producers, as a digital producer, every digital writer, reporter, I think they did a good job at wanting to put stories out online.
Wanting to?
Doing so.
Oh, okay, doing so, yeah, because wanting to doesn't, I wanted to, I didn't.
Doing so and just working with the smart board and doing things in that nature.
Loved the smart board stuff today.
Yes.
So tell me about our poll from the Instagram, or Facebook, or whatever you did, I can't remember.
So we can pull that up.
Okay.
Here we go. All right, impressions. We got 120. For some reason on this one, it doesn't tell us how many people voted for each one.
Okay.
So on Twitter, you can see that we had 5 votes for yes. And,
okay.
Yeah, so we had a total of 7 votes, 7 interactions, with a majority saying yes. So I don't know who is just gonna not wear pink just cause, but they are. So yeah, we got some solid interactions. I can check Facebook. In just a
96.
second.
Oh, I got it now. I got it. Okay. 96 people saw the post on Instagram, and then we had 27 vote for yes and 4 vote for no. So that's pretty good that we had that many people actually engage with it and vote.
It's your second show. But I would just challenge you to look for opportunities for this kind of engagement, to have your audience talk to you and you talk back to them.
Yeah.
Okay? Good for you. I'm glad you did that. All right?
All right.
Content person.
Yes, so on the content end, obviously we had good engagement. We had a good job from all the digital MMJs kind of putting stuff out, and a really good job from everyone pivoting today. Specifically, I know I was just ripping Carly back and forth just about the FDA and about CDC, but it's okay. We got it. We got to it. Tenacity, guys. We just got to stay at it. When you're up here, I love you all, but right, you got to help us as much as we're trying to help you guys. And we did a good job of it today, but just, tenacity throughout the week, as you're doing it. But thank you.
Okay. So I have a couple of notes, but I want to go around first. And Tasia, I really liked what you did today. I thought you had, when you think about this is your second show, how many live shots have you done in your life? 0. Okay. Well, if this is the first, then I expect number 20 is going to be marvelous, because it's pretty darn good. So looking back, what do you wish you had done differently, or what might you do differently next time? Or what did you really like about what you did?
I think for this story, since I pitched it Tuesday, I knew more about it, so it was easier to go on the live shot and talk about it, because I've been working on it for about 2 days now. What I would do differently is find a way to be more creative. Since I did know a lot about it, I could have, I don't know, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I could have did something to make the viewers more engaged, since I didn't have a problem with speaking about the story. So I think I would do that next time.
And I think that's a really good point, what she's saying. And the thing that I'm going to talk about a little bit later is she did have 2 days. And the fact is, in a news environment, the only day you're really going to have most of the time, unless you prep, is this day. And as you move into the professional realm, and we're going to get you ready for that, you will learn how to come in, have a story, have some kind of prep, if at all possible, sometimes not, and get it done and be creative as well. That's the goal. But I'm glad you're thinking like that. I was impressed that you got it done early and you left yourself some time so you didn't, show up at your live a frazzled mess. Okay, thank you very much, Tasia.
Okay, mine is really kind of nitpicky, as Tara and Carly know. When I was watching my package, there was a jump cut, and I almost jumped out of my skin.
Me too.
I know, and I even had B-roll planned out for what I was going to do for it, and I guess what I learned from that is, okay, like Sarah said, you don't have to re-watch your whole video before you export it, but really scrub over it and just make sure that all those little pieces that you want to put in there are in there. So
you don't want to have the big black hole. So let me share something with you.
Sure.
And this is, I'm going to use Nixon as an example, but a couple of you are having issues with this. And this is really, really important. And in fact, I have 4 key goals for you next week, and this is one of them. Write it down or speak it into your phone, or however you do what you do to memorialize it. Everybody ready? Yeah. What's happening with my story today? What's new? What's now? What's next? I don't want to hear, on September 3rd, this happened. On September 13th of 2007, today. If it's not today, it's not news. Now somebody say, but this happened yesterday. It did, but what's the impact for today? And to do that, you're going to have to ask yourself, why does this story matter? Why does this action that occurred yesterday matter today? What is happening as a result of yesterday's action? Why do I think this is a story today? Is it because I wasn't here yesterday and I just want to do it? Hi, viewer. Listen, I wasn't here yesterday. You probably heard this, but I want to do this story. Probably not, okay? So the example I said with Nixon is, we heard this 5G story like a week ago. That wasn't the news. What was the news?
The news is that he gave us some solutions on what we could do about the issue.
Yes. So that was the next step. So instead of us being, the people that go, here's the problem, OMG, OMG, the sky's falling. We had the opportunity, and Nixon had the information.
And me and you talked about that, and I guess I've never really thought about it in a way of like, it's kind of like the inverted pyramid thing. Like, I usually put the solution at the ending, but I'm realizing more and more maybe that's more of an attention grabber, and like we said, that should have been at the top. That should have been my lead.
Well, it's why it's the inverted pyramid. Remember when I taught you all about storytelling, since caveman times? Once upon a time, there was a girl, and it was Rapunzel, she had golden hair, blah, blah, blah. No, the prince, gosh, a prince rescue story. Anyway, you have to begin with what's new, what's now, okay? So lesson learned there. And it's really hard to do. It's not native, it's not intuitive, but as journalists, it will become so, okay? I really liked your weather performance.
Thank you.
You had the facts, you had the information. I especially liked, I know I wrote it down, we're just gonna get sweaty.
Yeah.
It was just one of the most honest things. I mean, it was the one thing that if I'm sitting on my sofa, well, tell it like it is, lady. So yeah, and it's good. And you guys each have you guys bring a personal dynamic to this that's important. And for your generation especially, growing up in, you're like all people in a plastic bubble. And for what the public demands of you, they demand transparency. They demand authenticity. So you better get comfortable with you, because pretending to be somebody else is not going to work. And I think you did a good job with that. And in some cases it can go over the edge, but I thought I enjoyed watching you. So far, we've had some really good people doing weather, and I think it's a wonderful experience for you. So kudos to you. Carly, I liked your anchoring today.
Thank you.
You smiled some, you looked engaged.
I definitely felt more comfortable today than I did Tuesday, and I think it showed. I also learned today that I need to make my leads more engaging. Instead of saying, Jackson County Board of Education did this, I should put, why does this matter first? Why do people care about this? So instead of like what I had as my lead, it should have been, do you want your say in how much your property taxes are going up? If so, go to this meeting, because that is more interesting to people and it shows like the impact more.
You know what had occurred to me? Now the meeting is tomorrow night, right?
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning, okay. Well, I don't know why I thought it was tomorrow. Good, okay. I think that's really important, because the reason information is valuable to people are moved to take action in their lives. And what you do is important. I am a resident of that county. I didn't know about that meeting till you told me. But if you start off with blah, 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 Board of Commissioners, you might lose me, and I really need to know about that. So again, what's new, what's now, what's next. You also had something on the e-cigarette thing, and you guys need to write this down. Even though I addressed it on Tuesday, be aggressive. For some of you that's really not comfortable, I would just tell you that you owe it to the public, and you owe it to the people you're chasing down. Because if you're not, you don't want those people calling and saying, why didn't you give me a chance to talk? And I'm not going to beat this dead horse. I did that on Tuesday. But guys, the FDA thing, you get a Twitter thing. I know at least 3 times I'm going, did you call, did you call, did you call? A news director's not going to do that. They're going to go, who can I call when I fire this person? Because I'm going to have to hire somebody else. We do not have time to do this for you. You guys have got to be aggressive. Remember, too, you don't get a chance to be the 1 minute 30 black hole in a newscast. Your story's got to go, and it's got to be today's story. All right? Thank you. Eric, a challenging day.
Yeah, for me it was just more just seeing if the story is relevant. I guess for me it was the struggle of just like you said earlier, today, and that wasn't my story, and that's just something I need to work on.
So part of the thing that I'm finding with you guys, and it's not a big surprise, you're not the first or the last Newsource class to have this issue. Remember at the beginning of Newsource when I said, you know, who wants to do entertainment? Everybody wants to be entertainment, culture, anchor, whatever. And I said, you guys just want to do that because you're afraid of hard news, because you don't understand crime, because you're not criminals or cops, and you don't understand government because you forgot 7th grade civics. So you're going to have to get fearless, okay? And you're going to, you may not ever be able to dredge that up from your memory banks, but at the beginning of the semester, I exhorted you to call your beats, to find out about them. And if you do that, you'll learn this. And then you won't be afraid of it anymore. Today with Eric's story, you had to kill it because I couldn't get a handle on who was doing what, so I couldn't appropriately vet it. Because I think Eric wasn't quite sure about, and please correct me if I'm misstating, but about what organization or what government entity was doing. It was 99%, but it wasn't 100. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it was, I guess for me, it was, can I get this interview? Can I get somebody to talk to about this issue?
Right.
And then completely not looking into and vetting, all right, so, but today, what's happening today?
You know what? You just came up with something that's really important. As I told Eric, this, you're frustrated, right? I don't blame you. But you'll move past it because I think we learned some of our best lessons through frustration. But what Eric's going through is something each one of you goes through, and it will pass. But you allow the technology, if you're not completely comfortable, to get in your way, because what if I can't do it? A white balance of a bad media card. Or your fear, your lack of understanding. She told me to go to the commissioner's office. Hey, what the heck is a commissioner? And you don't want to ask me that because you think I'll go, what are you kidding me? How do you not know? I won't say that. Okay, I might a little bit, but no, I won't. But the reality is you're so afraid that you're not quite sure what you're doing, that nobody's going to talk to you. What if no one talks to me? What if no one? You go to that negative space and you don't stop and think about what your story is. You will get someone to talk to you every time. And I'm going to show you how as soon as we finish going down the room. Ashley, you had some challenges today too.
I sure did. What I learned or what was reinforced is that I'm a print baby all the way. But I am learning a lot in here, and I know at the end of it I'll be grateful for it. I went
like
from
a tetanus shot? Some of the things we're most grateful for can be really painful.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I don't know. Do you want me to elaborate on?
Only if you want to.
I mean, we're all just going to go through hurdles sometimes. I feel like my beat is one that's really throwing me for a loop. But I'm just going to have to push through it because it's the job and I have to get it done.
Ashley has run into some issues, part of which, and this is not just her, this is some of you in here, and I'm not going to do a name check because what will happen is this is going to hit you guys in the head too, and then you'll come to me, so I'll just wait for it to happen. If you don't get to know your beats, when it's time for you to talk to them, you're going to have some trouble getting to them, and then I'm going to say, well, gosh, don't you know them by now? Actually, I've never spoken to them. I've only emailed them. So the truth will reveal. The other thing, though, is if we worry a whole lot about what we're not going to get. On the school bus thing, by the way, just a cursory check. I know Ashley and I spent some time where I pushed and she pushed, and I pushed and she pushed, and then I went away. Because, you know, I got bored and went and pushed somebody else around. That's not entirely true, but at some point you just go, okay, there's going to be an easy way to learn. But one of the things that I was pushing on is this document that I untaped from the wall and now have taped to this booth and can't get it untaped. Wait, here we go. This is a bit of a Bible for you guys. Ow! Okay? Remember this? So, a gentleman named David Hazinski. Y'all know Professor Hazinski? I think he's Professor Emeritus or something. He has some fancy title. What's fancy about Professor Hazinski is that he has a brain that is able to take the most esoteric thing and break it down into bite-sized chunks that you can all do and that we can hold you accountable for. This is how to, I call it diagramming a news story, how to research a news story. So after you had your challenges, I thought, you know, maybe she is being just pushed to the point of, I'm going to follow this and see what I might find. And what I found is that the average school system in Georgia, 57% of their school buses are air-conditioned. I found that Forsyth County did an e-sploss to get all their buses air-conditioned. I found the, what do you call, RFP for request for proposal that went out that had the specs required by law for Georgia school buses because I followed this. So I'm going to challenge you guys. When you get stuck, instead of calling them about what you can't get, because really they shouldn't be doing your job for you, or saying someone won't talk to me, go up, go above them, go under them, go around them. So this says, you know, how to start researching a story. Who would know about this? Who has a vested interest? Who opposes it? Who studies it? Is there a government agency or think tank that keeps track of this? Do I know anyone who might know someone who would be involved? I literally walked down these questions and started Googling, and that's how I found RFP for, or she was talking about air conditioning on one local system's buses and was not getting anywhere. So this is just a traffic accident story. Lawyer who represents victims, a wrecking company, Georgia Tech traffic engineering, profile of a bus driver, phone interview with graphics, State Farm claims insurance, AAA. There is always someone, and you can always get something. Now, you might have to change the point of view and the character of your story, but it can be done. But the more time you spend saying, I can't, then you won't. Try, because you can do it, because it's always there. All right? By hook or by crook. And you're going to need to do that. You want to be known as the person that when the bad stuff goes down, and everybody's dressed for the big news story, as you are, you want to be the person that they say, Syntasia, she'll always be able to do it live no matter what. Send Rios, that smile, she always gets people to talk to her. Send Caroline, because she'll terrify everyone and they'll do what she said. Whatever the case may be, you know, let be the one where they say, send him because he'll get it done. Okay? All righty. Katie Kim?
So today I learned basically what you kept mentioning, which was just find a way to make the story work. And that went with my interview where I was trying to find someone who was from like a rural county or rural state or whatever.
And you did?
And I did, but and it got me thinking, you know, all the times I talked to the people who were from the more populated areas, I could have still gotten their perspective which I was also eventually able to do, but it's just understanding that even if you can't get one side, if you get the other side, that's still a story in itself. And
Yes.
that still shows something.
Yeah, and I loved, and good for you, because I sent her back out. I said, take the mobile kit. Do something interesting. And it was. And it will be on digital. I also love that finally we used the smart board really with some markers. And that was good. And I think you're your presentation was much more natural, and it was good. Tara.
Hello.
Hi.
So I learned a couple of things today. I think the most important being the value in getting help. A lot of people helped me today. Caroline helped me with Grady Newsources. Asia helped me find a SOT from the soccer coach. Alex helped me white balance one of my interviews. You helped me when I thought that I didn't have enough B-roll, and you said, hey, just film a little stand-up, like, in the newsroom, it'll be fine. So I think, like, it really takes a village sometimes. No, it really takes a village sometimes. And then the second thing I learned is how to like make a story work, because I kind of came in today less prepared, I thought, than I did on Tuesday. I thought I didn't have any B-roll, I didn't have good interviews, and I went out like to Tate and I like found a football player just like sitting around.
What?
I know, incredible. So I think that like the fact that I am capable of doing like a day turn kind of story.
Not just any story, it's a really good story. And I think you illustrate something that I always say, there is no news happening in the newsroom. And if there is, it's a bad day. But there is no news happening in the newsroom. Get out of here. Get out of here. And I don't believe in luck. I believe that great news stories favor the reporter who gets out there and works at it. So good for you. We really liked your story, and I'd like for you guys to think digitally, how might we share that story with the world? 'Cause it's a really, really nice story. All right, Miss Rios.
Okay. Okay, so I learned a couple things today. What
Just a couple.
I'm always learning something new. And today, and today I think I need to work on a lot of things. First off, when getting B-roll, I thought that I would be able to go into CNN Newsource and get like this B-roll that I had imagined. That was not the case. And then I thought I could use some B-roll that I've used before. Can't do that either. So I needed some more B-roll. I thought the interviews were good. And I would also practice the mammograms. I did that intentionally.
We just won't say that word anymore. We're moving on to other words.
Okay, but I think it was good. Every day is a good day.
Well, you know what? That's true. Every day is. So let me share the things that I want you guys to work on next week and really take this to heart, okay? What's new, what's now, what's next? Your leads must be accurate. Number 2, you're going to chase stuff down and you don't come back here without anything. And you don't call them going, oh my God, I don't have anything. Now, here's what you can do. You can call and go, hey, having issues here. I'm thinking of going in this direction. Do you mind brainstorming with me for 120 seconds on who I might call? You get a different response from people. You're telling them, I'm only going to borrow you for 2 minutes, and I want you to brainstorm with me, not fix it for me. And you get a different attitude, okay? The other thing, I want you to really think about where you are and use your shooting skills. The one thing about your story, you had this great big fabulous pink van. Did you not have a wide shot of the van and a medium shot of the van and headlights of the van, tight, tight, tight? Did you ask maybe if you could go in before anybody else went in or after somebody was out? Did you ask to look at the inside, to look at the mammogram machine with no one in there? Yeah, so ask if there's something you want to see. But you had that big pink truck. I'm not going to say that, you don't say mammogram, I won't say truck. You could have done something with that. It was big, it was pink, it was visual, it was representative, it was good. Okay, so really think about that. So work on the 2 things I told you to work on. Guys, hold your face, okay? We've got a couple of things. I think we had one, this may have been a few days ago, where Tasha's like, blah, 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 and I'm finished, and then she's like walking away. And today, I loved your demeanor, and then it's like, Okay, camera's off me. No, hold your face. And they're shutting me up. I can hear them counting me down.
That's our shot.